What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar with C-Zar Gets Crypto, and we are talking about Bitcoin Cash today. Shout out to the Dragon Riders in the House of the Dragon. I forgot to give the shout out in my last video. I don't know what's wrong with me. But looking at this today, looking at this right now at least, we are up at 195. We actually had the higher high that I was talking about in my last video or my last two videos. I don't remember. We broke above this high. Yes, we are down right now. We're on the first, I believe, yes, the first 4-hour candle of this new day. And we just closed the week. I don't think that this is going to be the high. I don't think that this high here is going to be the high. I do think that we go higher than this. Even as bearish as this 1.34% looks to the downside, I do think we go higher. Looking at the 4-hour, we have built higher highs on higher lows, which is nice to see. You kind of have this ascending trend up here, along with higher highs still. We could, on the next push up, form a lower high in the RSI. We might even get like 2 lower highs after that, right? Or like one more lower high to give like double bearish divergence. Or maybe we just have 2 highs like this where we have classic bearish divergence. I don't know. But one way or another, I'm not under the impression that this is the high yet. I do think we go higher. And if we went right above this purple line here to around like 213, to me that would make some sense. Because if we take this from a daily perspective, we go all the way to the top to the bottom here. 213, 214, that's right there around that 382 area. And we could even wick slightly above that and find resistance at a previous area of support right down here, which again would be around like, 215, 220, maybe around there. We could even go that high to 220. We might go higher. It's hard to say. But I do think that this is not the high, the current high. I mean, it might be a relative high, in a very short amount of time kind of time frame, but I do think we go higher. Looking at this on a 1 hour, we have 22 minutes left in this hour alone. We do have hidden bullish divergence presenting itself. That's when you have a low here, you have lower lows here, but you have a low here and you have higher lows here. And they look pretty damn close, but on a closing basis, that's what this RSI is based off of. This close, this low came off of this low close right here at 194 and 13 cents. And I think it's at, let's see, 194 and 15 cents technically. And then this low here came in at 194 and 40 cents. That isn't that far away, but that is enough to give us some pretty significant hidden bullish divergence, which would imply that we're going up so long as we're in an uptrend, which we are. We have higher highs and higher lows. So could we go lower from here in like the very, very immediate term? Sure, but I don't think that we're going to go too much lower than like, I don't even think we'd go below 190. Personally, we might not go lower than this. This might be the low before heading back up. Hard to say. Hard to say. Maybe not too hard. Let's see. Let's look at this on the 15-minute. Get the low. That is the low. Oh, I don't like that. Maybe this low over here. Low there to this high. Yeah, we could go a little bit lower. Sure. Bounce off the 618, kind of form a relative double bottom or something like that. It's not even a double bottom. I don't like that. Maybe we go a little bit lower, even form like a fake out of like a lower low, but really it's just an area to buy before we go back up. That would send us to 192 and 65 cents, maybe to 193 and 57 cents. It's only like $2 away from here, guys. It's not too much, but ultimately I do think we go higher. And again, where do I think Bitcoin Cash is going before it starts its descent back down below this low here? I think that we could go anywhere from like the previous area of support, which is about at like 220, to maybe even we could go up to like 230, something like that, with a potential minimal retracement all the way up to the 382 at about 214. So I guess I would say anywhere around like 214 to 230, something like that sounds about right to me. But I would expect, regardless of where we go, that we maintain this lower high structure. And then what happens after we get our lower high? It'll be the same thing as this one, right? We formed a lower low. Same thing as this one, we formed a lower low. Same thing as this one, we formed a lower low. So that's just what happens. After you get lower highs, you get lower lows. So that's my expectation. I don't really have anything else that I'd like to include. I think that's about it. I don't know. Maybe we can look at the 4-hour real quick. I don't know. Not a whole lot to go off of. I feel like I've covered what I want to cover. Yeah. Maybe we make a run up today or tomorrow and go up to the 50, reject this area. We very well could break above the 50. That's okay. We've actually broken above the 50 a few times and found resistance, came all the way back down to the oversold zone. So breaking above the 50 is not a concern if you're bearish. I would say breaking above like 54 or 55, that's more of a concern. And, technically what is nice if you're bullish, what's nice is we do have a kind of break in this overall down structure, right? You've broken out of it. You can see you found some resistance here, but you broke out of it. All in all, to say though, you do still have a lower high involved. If we take this 4 hour for example, and we were to do the same kind of thing, take this low here to these lows, you broke out of this range too, but you came back into it, and all you had still at the end of this was a higher low. So take that back, right? And we're at the dailies now. All we still have, even though we broke out of this, it's still a lower high. So I'm not too worried about it, not too excited about it. We did, get a little bit above where I would have expected, but I guess it makes sense. I don't have anything that gauges what the reading would be as the price moves up. I definitely have been calling for a move, since I don't know, maybe after this high here that could move up to about 213. I think even at the low I was calling for a move that could be up there, but all in all I've been saying that we probably won't go lower than this. But I've been giving it a 50-50 chance for a while, and then like yesterday I said 60-40, things were starting to look good because, and I said 50-50, but my inclination was to the downside. But yesterday I forewent that because we had this kind of price action presenting itself where we were holding this previous area of resistance as support. You can see on a closing basis, resistance, broke above it, holding it as support, and now we're going higher. So before we even had this move, I was saying I think that we will break this high, and ultimately, and I was saying instead of a 50-50 chance, 50% chance we could go up, 50% chance we could go down, I switched that to a 60-40% chance, and now I would say with the much higher degree of likelihood, probably 70, maybe even 80% chance that we do get above this purple line, probably get around 214 or higher, maybe even all the way up to 230. But I would stay probably closer to 214 to 220, somewhere in that range, before we find a lower high and then inevitably pursue lower prices than the current low that we have right now. I do think that we could go all the way down. For those of you who are new here or haven't seen my TAs before, on the low to the high here, I do think we could go to about 148 to 135, potentially even lower. As we've made this move down, I've started to kind of pay attention to the 786 area, right there at around 120. It's a little bit below 120 actually. And the reason for that is because it is the 786 of this kind of more relative fib, but from this price area that we had like a massive accumulation phase since basically June of 2022 until June of 2023. From high to low here, if we take this, the 0.5 halfway through that price range is right on that white line, 119.60. This white line's at 119.57, so it's right there. And if you've been following the channel, you know that I will use previous price ranges, take the halfway mark between them, and find significance on them a good bit of time. It's not always, but it's pretty common enough. I'm not saying that this has to happen. I'm just putting it on the radar because I think that it could happen. Where before I was giving the lowest kind of at 135, now I would say the lowest is probably around 120. Either way, whatever it is, it's still a higher low, still in this bullish posturing, still broke out of this zone entirely, and you could find, maybe we wick down to 120, but we close above it right here on a weekly basis and still find support on these previous areas of resistance, something like that. Maybe we don't go that low. Maybe this was the bottom itself. I don't know. As if I had an impression or a guess, an opinion, I would say that this probably isn't the low. Yes, we probably go higher in the meantime, but I don't think this is the low. If I had to guess if we go below 135 or not, I don't know. We could, we couldn't, I don't know. But I do think we go lower regardless. If we were to go above and this was to be the low, we will need some more convincing price action to take place before I'm sold on that. But at the moment, I'm not sold on that. I do think we go higher from here, but I don't think that we break this lower high structure that we've been forming basically since what is that? Since June, since the end of June this year. So anyways, that's all I got for you guys. If you liked the video, leave a thumbs up, subscribe to see more, and I will see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.